Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2022 NFL season, and it kicks off with a glamorous match featuring two of the biggest Super Bowl favorites, the Buffalo Bills and Los Angeles Rams. It's Josh Allen versus Matt Stafford, Aaron Donald versus Von Miller. Who's going to win this marquee opening night matchup? Stick around to see our predictions at the end of the video, but before all of that, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Now, let's get on with the preview. The Bills' offense enters this new NFL season with the same core group of players. Josh Allen will be the center of everything for the fifth straight season, and he enters this year with expectations higher than ever, mainly because of how well he finished last season. He threw for 9 touchdowns in just 2 playoff games while also completing 77% of his passes. He had a near-perfect passer rating, and he was a big part of why that Bills-Chiefs game was so incredible. With the Bills being the betting favorites to win it all, Allen will be under the microscope this season, but he'll have plenty of hope this season as well. Stephon Diggs returns to the fold, coming off another stellar season in Buffalo, catching 103 passes for over 1,200 yards. Diggs is once again Allen's favorite target, but last season, opposing defenses made a concerted effort to stem the damage from this partnership. And due to that, the Bills' supporting cast needs to be stellar, and this group has all the talent to do so. Gabe Davis is coming into his 3rd season, and many are expecting him to put up big numbers after a somewhat disappointing sophomore season. Besides him will be tight end Dawson Knox, who has gotten incrementally better with each season. With all of them is the Bills' version of a human joystick, Isaiah McKenzie. The Bills let Cole Beasley walk this offseason, meaning that McKenzie will become the new starting slot receiver. He really emerged last season, and now he'll have the most snaps of his career, but he'll be continuously looking over his shoulder as the Bills also have Jamison Crowder on the roster. But that is McKenzie's job to lose. And perhaps the most intriguing part of the Bills' offense will be the running back core, led by Devin Singletary. He rushed for a career high in yards and attempts, getting 870 yards on 188 attempts. He also had 7 rushing touchdowns, and the Bills have placed their confidence in him, but not their full confidence. You see, the Bills brought in James Cook via the draft and kept Zach Moss around. All 3 will be battling for snaps, but consider the Bills' running backs to be a 3-headed monster. The Bills' offense will be tested early this season when they go up against the LA Rams defense. Aaron Donald is a thing once again, a dominant lineman at that. He was a major force in helping the Rams win the Super Bowl this past season, getting 16 sacks in the regular season and playoffs combined. Donald was just extended to a monster 6-year deal by the Rams, and he'll have to be a big force if the Rams are to repeat as Super Bowl champs. Ashawn Robinson and Greg Gaines will join Donald as starters on the defensive line, but neither have had more than 5 sacks in a season. Behind those 3 will be 4 linebackers, namely Leonard Floyd, Bobby Wagner, second-year man Ernest Jones, and Justin Hollins. Wagner and Floyd are certainly going to bring some star-powered impact to the middle of this defense. Wagner has spent his entire career so far with the Seattle Seahawks, so seeing him with another competent defense will be fun, except if you're playing against him. And behind all of them is this scary secondary, headlined by veterans Troy Hill and Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey had 4 interceptions last season and will once again not be targeted, as he is actually very talented. I've been talking about the Rams defense for quite some time, but I haven't mentioned their offense yet until now. The Rams offense is led for the 2nd straight year by Matt Stafford, who went from a losing and being called overrated in Detroit to winning the Super Bowl in LA. He's had some injuries in the offseason, but there's no reason to suggest that he can't be a consistent above-average passer again this season. He's usually thrown for 4,000 yards, but this past season he got closer to 5,000, and it's mainly because of the upgrade he had in his weapons. They changed a little bit this offseason, but one constant will be wide receiver Cooper Kupp. Kupp had 145 catches for a whopping 1,900 yards last season, and he was arguably the best receiver in the game. He's going to try and continue that level of play up this season, but if he doesn't, it's not the end of the world for the Rams. Allen Robinson was just signed from Chicago, and like Stafford, looks to break out in a system that doesn't hinder him. And Jefferson was phenomenal last season, having 102 yards on just 50 catches, and in his 3rd season, he'll look to become the top vertical wide receiver in the NFL. Tyler Higbee returns as a solid and underrated tight end, and Cam Akers will finally be healthy after missing most of last season with a torn ACL. The Rams' offense will definitely be a part of what should be an excellent and high-scoring game between themselves and the Bills, but there is a group looking to stop them. And this group is led by Von Miller, Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano, Khair Elam, Ed Oliver, and more. The Bills' defense is coming off a season where they were number 1 in points given up, number 1 in pass defense, number 1 in yards conceded, number 1 in yards per play, number 1 in first downs conceded, and number 1 in touchdowns conceded. So looking at that, they were absolutely incredible, but there was still some room to improve. The Bills' defense struggled in defending the run and getting to the quarterback, and it seemed that in the big games, the Bills' lack of star power came back to hurt them. This was especially true when Tre'Davious White went down with a torn ACL, and by the way, he will be missing this match and the first 4 games at least of this season, an injury he's still recovering from, of course. But that star power was recouped when the Bills got Von Miller in free agency, and their depth was reinforced when the Bills drafted cornerbacks Khair Elam and Christian Benford. The defensive line looks to be as strong as ever, with Greg Rousseau entering his 2nd year. Ed Oliver is becoming a dominant run stopper, and Daquan Jones is filling Star Lutulele's shoes, hopefully doing more than Lutulele ever did with the Bills. The secondary also looks to be one of the best again, with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer both healthy in time for this Thursday night's game. Hyde and Poyer both enter the season as one of the best safety duos in the NFL, and they'll have a tall task in locking down this explosive and dynamic Rams offense. So, with all of that out of the way, our BSC crew is back at it to predict this week's high-profile matchup. But unlike prior years, we are going to be helped by a fan of the opposing team, just so that our crew isn't so obviously biased. Anyways, let's go to some predictions for this Bills and Rams game.
For the end zone, touchdown, Buffalo, Tyler Kroft. The Bills have the lead with 15 seconds left.
Wow. Again, you said